Good morning. What I am going to show you now is how to find the prime factors of polynomials. I want you to open your module number 1 and open it on page 6. We are going to start with the activity number 1. The instruction here is find all the prime factors of the given polynomials. Now let me show you how. First, I will show you how to do the numbers 2 and 5, and then with your partners, you're going to do the remaining numbers, which are number 1, number 3, and number 4. To start with, in number 2, the given is 42ab squared. To find the prime factors of this given polynomial, we will start first with our numerical coefficient. Our numerical coefficient here is 42. So all you have to do is to think of the factors of 42. We can have 6 times 7 or 7 times 6. And for our variables, we will just write it as 7 times 6. So this point here shows multiplication. So instead of using cross to represent times, we will use this point here. So 7 times 6 times A times B times B. We will write 2 B's here because the given exponent here is 2. Now, if we're going to look at the given, the 6 here is not yet on its prime factorization. So we still need to think of the factors of 6. So we will now have 7 times 2 times 3 times A times B times B. So 2 times 3 is from 6 because the factors of 6 is 2 and 3. So this is now the prime factorization of 42ab squared. 7 times 2 times 3 times A times B times B. Next, number 5. Our given is 70A cubed B cubed. Just like a while ago, we will start with the numerical coefficient. We are going to think of the factors of 70. So for me, I'm going to write 7 times 10. Because 7 times 10 is 70. As for our variables, we will write A times A times A because our exponent is 3. And for B, we will write B times B times B. Now, if you're going to look at the factors here, number 10 is not yet in its prime factorization. So we have to think of the factors of 10. So we can have 2 times 5, and we can rewrite it as 7 times 2 times 5 times A times A times A times B times B times B times B. So this 2 times 5 again is from 10 because these are the factors of 10. So the prime factorization of 70A cubed B cubed is 7 times 2 times 5 times A times A times A times B times B times B. Now, I'll give you 5 minutes to do this with your partners. So you will just find the prime factorization of numbers 1, 3, and 4. So we are now done with finding the prime factorization of polynomials. What I'm going to discuss to you now is finding the greatest common monomial factor, or what we call as the GCMF. So in activity 2, you have to find the GCF or the GCMF. So here are the given. So what I will just answer is number 2. And the rest, you can choose 1 and find its greatest common factor. You can just choose between number 1, 3, 4, or 5. So for number 2, we have 2 given 42ab cubed and 70a squared b squared. Now, we will just do the prime factorization of 42ab cubed. So 42 is equal to 6 times 7. But 6 is not yet in its factored form, so we have to factor it as 2 times 3. That is why 42 is written as 2 times 3 times 7. And we will write A and then B times B times B. As for 70A squared B squared, 70 its factor could be 7 times 10. But we need to factor out 10, which is 5 times 2. That is why 5 times 2 times 7 is 70. And then our a squared, we will write it as a times a and b times b. Now we have the prime factorization of the two given polynomials. Now to find the GCMF, or the greatest common monomial factor, we will just find the common factors here. So the first factors which are common on these two is we have 2, 7, A, and B. And we also have another B. So if you're going to rewrite the GCMF, it will be 2 times 7 times A times B times B. And then we have to multiply this one. 2 times 7, we now have 14 A, and since we have 2B here, the exponent will be B squared. So the GCMF, or the greatest common monomial factor, is 14AB squared. Okay, so it's time for you to do the remaining task with your group mates.